Good morning, children. Welcome back to the social science class. In our previous class, we know very well we have started the lesson Land India Land Resources. So as we were discussing about the lesson India Land Resources, I hope already we have discussed about the types of farming. So as we have successfully discussed about the types of farming, today we are going to continue the same lesson. And the next important concept from this lesson, what we need to discuss is crop season and cropping pattern. So today we are going to discuss about the crop season and cropping pattern. So what exactly you mean by crop season, and how many crop seasons are going to be found in India, and what do you mean by cropping pattern, and what is the importance of cropping pattern? Everything one by one we are going to discuss in detail. Okay. So usually, what do you mean by crop season? First, let us try to understand what do you mean by crop season. See, it's very simple. See, based on the season, we are going to cultivate the crops. So, cultivating of crops based on the season itself is going to be known as the cropping season. Okay. So, usually at present in our country, we are going to come across 3 cropping seasons. So the first one is the Kharif crop season, second one is the Rabi crop season, and the third one is Jade crop season. So let us try to understand what do you mean by Kharif season, what do you mean by Rabi season, and what do you mean by Rabi season also in detail. Okay. Now listen carefully. Crop seasons, cultivation of crops based on the season. See, cultivation of crops based on the season itself is going to be known as the cropping season. For example, you see, it is not possible for us to produce or cultivate all the crops in same season. So, as it is not possible for us to produce the crops in all the seasons, the same crops, so we are going to divide the seasons into types. So the main 3 types of cropping season which are going to be found in our country are the Kharif season, the Rabi season, and the Jade season. See here, in India there are mainly 3 cropping seasons, that is the Kharif, the Rabi, and the finally Jade season. So what do you mean by Kharif season? From where to where we are going to experience this Kharif season, and what are the important crops we are going to produce in this Kharif season, also very important for us to know. See, the Kharif crop season. The crops grown during the rainy season are called Kharif crops. See, this is very important. Listen carefully. The crops which are grown during the rainy season. In the sense, what are all the crops we are going to grow during the rainy season, they are coming under the Kharif season. So usually you know very well, the rainy season is going to start in our country from June 1st itself. From the June 1st, the monsoon rains enters into India. Okay, so from June, whatever the crops we are going to grow, that crops are coming under the Kharif season. So the sowing takes place in the June-July when the southwest monsoon starts and the crops are harvested in September, October. See, usually the sowing is there, the sowing of seeds is going to begin with the monsoon season, that is the monsoon rains from June to July. So during the month of June and July we are going to sow the seeds, and in the month of September and October we are going to harvest the crops. And the crops which are going to be sown during the month of June and July, and the crops which are going to be harvested during the month of September and October are going to be called as the Kharif crops. So some of the important Kharif crops which we are going to grow in our country are rice, jowar, ragi, cotton, groundnuts, tobacco, etc. are the main Kharif crops. So during this Kharif season only we are going to grow the rice and even the jowar. So especially when it comes to the Karnataka, in Karnataka jowar is very famous. So if you happen to visit Vijaypura or the Bijapura, so Vijaypura is very famous for this roti only. So for that reason, during the Kharif season, we are going to grow the rice, the jowar, the ragi, and the cotton, groundnuts, tobacco, etc. So these are some of the important crops. So apart from this also some other crops are going to be grown, but they are not going to play that much important role. So we are going to discuss only about those crops which are going to be considered as very important one. So these crops are going to be considered as very important one. For that reason only we are going to discuss about these crops only. Okay, so this is about the Kharif crop season. So after the Kharif crop season, we are going to see the Rabi season also. Now you just try to understand what is the difference between the Kharif season and the Rabi season. See, the Kharif season is going to begin with the monsoon rains, that is in the month of June and July. But whereas these Rabi crops are there, no? These Rabi crops, no? The sowing takes place in October, November. See, this Rabi crops, no? The sowing of seeds are going to take place during the month of October and November. So when the northeast monsoon begins and are harvested in the month of February and March. So retreating monsoon we are going to say. So retreating monsoon. So actually it starts in the month of October and November. Okay. So during that time only the crops are going to be sown and they are going to be harvested in the month of February and the March. Okay. So the crops which are going to be grown during the period of September and November and harvested during the month of February and March are going to be known as the Rabi crops. Okay. Here you need to understand this is known as Rabi season and crops are called Rabi crops. So some of the important crops which are going to be grown during this period are none other than wheat, barley, gram and linseed. So usually wheat, you know very well. If you happen to visit North India, in North India, the staple food of North Indians itself is the wheat. So they are going to make use of more and more chapatis. Okay. So this wheat and barley and grams and linseed are going to be grown during the period of Rabi season. Okay. So once again listen carefully. Kharif season, it is starting during the period of rainy season in a sense. So in the month of June and July we are going to sow the crops, sow the seeds, and we are going to harvest the same thing in the month of September and October. Okay. But whereas the Rabi season, no, we are going to sow the seeds during the month of October and November and harvest the crops during the month of February and March. Okay. Now the third is there, no, that is the Jade crop season. So in between Kharif season and the Rabi season, so whatever the crops we are going to grow, no, that crops are going to be known as the Jade season. See, if you are from CBSE, no, last year there was a lesson, the first lesson of the economics, the story of village Palampur. In that story of village Palampur, we have studied very clearly. In village Palampur, no, every year they are able to grow 3 crops. So the third crop what they used to grow during the month of during the season Jade is nothing but potato. So usually they used to produce the potato during the period of the Jade season. Okay, listen carefully now. The crops are grown in between the Kharif and Rabi crops are known as the Jade crops. So whatever the crops we are going to grow in between the Kharif season and the Rabi season are going to be known as the Jade crops. Okay, and they are watermelon, cucumber, oil seeds, some pulses and vegetables. So usually the watermelon, cucumber, vegetables, oil seeds and some pulses are also going to be grown during this Jade season. So totally how many seasons are there? There are 3 cropping season in our country. So the 3 cropping season which we are going to see in our country are the Kharif crop season, the Ravi crop season and the Jade crop season. Listen carefully, once again I am going to revise because it is very important, especially related to the final exam. Okay, see here, the Kharif season begins with rainy season. So the rainy season is going to start in our country in the month of June itself. Okay, so during the month of June and July we are going to sow the seeds, and finally we are going to harvest the same crops during the month of September and October. So whatever the crops we are going to produce during this period, no, they are going to be known as the Kharif crops. Okay, this is the onset of southwest monsoon. So once the southwest monsoon enters into India, no, with the southwest monsoon only we are going to sow the seeds. So that is going to be known as the Kharif season. But whereas the Rabi crop season, no, these crops are going to be sown during the period of October and November. So that is the retreating of monsoon season. So now the monsoon winds are going to blow from north to east. Okay, so as they are going to blow from northeast direction to the southwest direction, during that time we are going to sow the seeds in the month of October and November, and we are going to harvest the same crop during the month of February and March. Okay, so these crops are going to be known as the Rabi crops. So in between Kharif and the Rabi season, whatever the crops we are going to grow or whatever the crops we are going to produce, they are coming under the Jade crop season. Okay, these are the three important cropping seasons which are going to be found in our country. Next is the cropping pattern. So try to understand what do you mean by cropping pattern. Definitely this question may rise in the exam for 2 marks. What do you mean by cropping pattern? So for that reason, listen carefully and try to understand, and I will also try my level best to make this one as easy as possible for you to make you understand. Okay, see, cropping pattern. The cropping pattern of a region refers to the proportion of an area under different crops at a given time. Now you see, for your kind information, you just take one X farmer, and usually in India, no, our farmers, know, they are having hardly 2 acres or 3 acres of land. So within 2 acres or 3 acres of land, no, it is compulsory for them to produce all varieties of crops. See, if they are going to grow only the rice and wheat, it is for self-consumption. Then what about the commercial crops? So because apart from the self-consumption, other expenses are also there. In order to meet the other expenses, it is compulsory for them to produce the commercial crops only. Now, the cropping pattern is nothing but whatever the land is available, no, in that land, how you are adjusting yourself to grow different varieties of crops. Maybe it is the food crops or maybe it is the commercial crops. So food crops are also essential, and apart from food crops, the commercial crops are also going to play a very important role. The cropping pattern of any region in India changes from time to time. See, this cropping pattern of India is there, no? Maybe you take the North India or South India or East India or West India, whatever the direction it is. So it is going to change time to time. For example, you see, this year if we are going to produce the cotton, next year we are not going to produce cotton. So instead of that, no, maybe we are going to produce the sunflower, or we are going to produce the rice or the groundnut or some other crops we are going to produce. And next you see, it is due to several factors such as relief features, soil, climate, size of farms, water supply, income of farmers, technology, etc. So usually why it is going to change from time to time and place to place means it is depend upon mainly you see the relief features. So next, soil. So based on the quality of soil and based on the climate what they are going to experience, and size of farms. So if they are having a big size of farms, automatically they are going to keep on changing the cropping pattern every year. And water supply, some of the crops, no, they are badly in need of water, and if the water supply is good in that area, then automatically they are going to follow that type of cropping system. And especially the income of pattern. So income of farmers is also going to play a very important role, because as I said you, only self-consumption is not important. Apart from the self-consumption, they are badly in need of the income also. That income can be gained only by producing or growing the commercial crops. And at the same time, finally, we are going to discuss about the technology. See, technology is also going to play a very, very important role in determining the cropping pattern of a particular area. So, if technology is developed, then automatically they are going to accept or they are going to change the pattern, this cropping pattern year by year. Sometimes, if there is no technology, then automatically they are supposed to follow the traditional methods only, and in the traditional methods they will be keep on growing the same food crops or some other crops, and they are going to face the difficulty. So, this is the cropping season and cropping pattern of India. So, in the next period now, we are going to discuss about some of the important major crops, of India. So, that we are going to discuss in the next period. Till to that, bye. Thank you.